With this in mind, Stephen has just set up a new peer mentoring scheme. As part of their training, a group of Year 6 peer mentors are reenacting an actual incident which has just occurred in the year below.
In the room, in the meeting, we had the 3 bullies, the victim of the bullying, and we had 2 of our, what we call playground helpers. Okay, girls, I'd like to thank you for coming. Hopefully we'll be able to sort out the situation that's arisen between Kimberly, Janet and Tasnim and Timothy. So, would you like to start, Sylvia, please?
What has been happening to you these couple of days?
Well, they've been bullying me around and they're always calling me names and they never accept me in the gang and they never want me to play with them. It just makes me feel sad and lonely.
Okay, how do you feel about that?
Basically, everything she said there was a lie.
And it's true.
Typically, this scenario illustrates the ebb and flow of blame and blaming that can occur when girls are involved.
Do you guys feel like she gets you into trouble on purpose sometimes?
Yes.
What makes you feel that way?
Like when she stretches her legs out and we trip and we make lots of noise while the teacher's talking and she says it's our fault.
And she looks at us, that look, just stares at us for like a long time. Just giving it to us.
And how does that make you feel?
Like,
Very upset?
and like we're being stalked. And weird and uncomfortable.
The girls fall out over name calling, or perhaps someone's got something better than they have, and instead of leaving it, they actually talk about it to other girls, and that seems to be mainly what the reasons are.
Some educationalists think bullies shouldn't be made to shoulder all the blame, and the way forward is for both sides to adjust their behaviour.
Is there anything you'd like the girls not to do to you anymore?
Well, I would like them to stop calling me names and I would also like them to stop whispering about me.
Do you guys think that you guys will stop that?
Okay.
Okay, girls, talk about the things that you'd like Umi to stop doing to you guys.
Stop putting her leg out. Stop looking at us.
Do you agree not to stare at the girls?
Okay.
Okay, girls, I want to thank you all for coming, and I'll be following up with all of you in the next few weeks just to see if we've kept to our agreements. I think if children can understand where each other are coming from, then they're much more likely to be able to deal with each other in a more positive way, really.
While Princess May pupils have only had a peer mentoring scheme for 2 weeks, Ackland Burley Secondary School pioneered peer mentoring 20 years ago. Its ABC, or anti-bullying campaigns, continue to be central to the school's ethos, and a strong emphasis is put on peer mentoring training.
It's part of the role to look around, to see what's happening, and to not interfere, but to take part in what's going on and try and sort out, in a solution-focused way, issues in the playground or other issues that are referred to them.
A group of Year 8 and 9 peer mentors devise an imaginary scenario to think how they might handle a real-life case of bullying.
What are you doing on Saturday then?
Yeah, I'm going shopping with Poppy and Hattie and stuff, yeah.
Oh.
You know. You doing anything?
No.
Nothing.
Hey, Betty.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Betty. Hi.
How are you? You looking forward to Saturday? It's
Yeah.
gonna be wicked.
Yeah.
I like your
We gotta go. See you later.
Bye.
Oh, bye. Do you know what they were laughing at?
Stuff, you know. TV.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey, Betty. You coming?
See you later. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Come on.
Two peer mentors have been watching the group ganging up on one girl, and they intervene.
But why did you say that?
But it's not always us. Everyone always thinks it's our fault. Everything we get blamed for. How do you think it's fair on us?
Well, it can't be that fair. But are you admitting to talking about her?
Yeah, but not to her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's worse.
How's it worse? If we're not saying it to her face, then why is she going to get upset?
Why are they annoyed with you?
I don't know. Maybe I've done something.
I don't think you've done anything, because aren't they supposed to be your friends?
Yeah, I guess, but...
But if she finds out that you haven't said it to her face, that's going to make her feel worse about it. That you can't go up
So we
and
go
say
over
it
to her face now and tell it all to her face. How do you think she's going to feel?
I'm going to feel bad, but at least you told it to her face.
Creating a peer support system in the school is about a sense of belonging, is about a sense of belonging to the community. And this is, to me, the magic of having peer support, because they enjoy doing it, they're contributing to the school, and it's very much part of inclusion. When we talk about inclusion, people talk about the needy children, those we need to help. But actually, this is part of inclusion, because these are including the good kids doing stuff for their schools.
As a peer mentor, I think that quite a few people would think that it was our job to go toward the victim side, but I think sometimes in situations that can actually make it worse, and that you actually need to go to the root of the problem, which is usually the bully, and speak to them about why they were bullying that person, because often they're upset about something else, or they feel like they're feeling small, and they might be even being bullied by somebody else, so they feel they have to take their aggression out on somebody else to make them feel big and powerful.
Other schools are increasingly turning to peer mentoring as part of their armoury to defeat bullies.
We're developing a peer mentoring scheme with Year 10 students to work specifically with Year 7s and 8s. It's in its pilot stage at the moment, but it's something I'm really excited about because I think it will have a big impact on the students.
A girl bully can start at a very tender age, soon after the start of their formal education.
We've been able to identify issues of bullying in children as young as Year 2 children, where we find that children are usually bullied, girl-on-girl bullying, because there's some sort of social shortcoming that's been identified in a particular child. So, for example, a child might be perceived by others to be not pretty enough, or perhaps maybe too fat, or possibly even too skinny. And once this child has been identified as having a particular shortcoming, or perceived to have this particular shortcoming, it's not unusual for some children to deliberately form an exclusion group and to deliberately exclude this child from participating in games in the playground.
Knowing how early bullying behaviour can start, Nina Gill uses circle time to try to alert 6-year-old girls to the damage it can cause.
6 and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
I've been working with the Year 2s, a small group of 6 children, to look at ways in which we care about ourselves and others around us, particularly in relation to protecting each other from forms of bullying. We looked at a miniature-sized heart, and the children thought about ways in which they looked after their own heart, and then they looked at ways in which they could look after other people's hearts and explored why somebody's heart might become hurt.
When someone's being bullied, you should quickly tell Miss, or you should stand up for them. Don't hurt their feelings, or if somebody bullies them or picks on them, we can go up to them and stick up for them. Tell the person who's hurting the child to not do it again. When you go up to them, you ask them if they're all right, and then you care about them because their heart is special.
Ensuring that hearts are looked after is one role for school council members. Their proactive approach has helped Calverton win Primary School Council of the Year.
I do get most people coming up to me in my class saying I've been getting bullied, and they're a bit scared to tell the teacher just in case they get in trouble as well. So then I'll be able to take it to Miss Gill.
I will then take on board any important decisions that need to be made. They will be involved in the process, but if the process becomes very difficult and parents are involved, then it does become an issue for the learning mentor and senior management.
While hair pulling and name calling may always be part of the school playground, mobile phones and the internet are keeping bullies and their targets connected outside of school.
So there is the bullying occurring via mobile phones, text messaging, and through emails.
They're setting up websites about you. They are getting other people to set up false websites, and it is absolutely driving kids mad. In fact, it's driving them to the point of suicide, and we've had some suicides because of that kind of bullying.
A death threat, even as a joke, is no laughing matter, as a concerned older sister now knows firsthand. When her younger sister chatted to school friends on the internet, it suddenly turned nasty.
She realised there was actually kind of 4 or 5 girls behind the computer, the other side, all calling her names, all being rude. They're obviously all kind of egging each other on and so on. And it kind of, over the course of the conversation, it spiralled out of control, really, and that by the end of it they were saying that they were going to stab her outside school tomorrow. And so she went downstairs, told my mum about it, and then we got a phone call, and it was clearly and they asked for my sister, and it was clearly from one of the bullies pretending to be somebody else. So I took the phone off her and told them to leave us alone.
They'll take a girl who they decide as a group, usually this feral group of children, have decided that this girl is going to be the victim. So they will say she's ugly, they'll say she's a slag, they'll say that that her parents are having affairs with other people, they'll say that the child should be actually dead.
I think the girls that were bullying my sister wouldn't have said anything like that if it hadn't been on this medium.
How about we'll get her after school? We'll get her after school.
If they'd been face to face, they would certainly never have got that far. But it's a bit like road rage or something, that I think that you're sort of removed from yourself as a human, and you don't have that relation with the other person. And I think that's probably why it never happened again, because actually face to face, they didn't feel that way for each other. It was just when they had a kind of computer in between them.
So once an incident of bullying by remote comes to light, what can be done about it?
Informing the parents so that parents are aware that phone calls or text messages are happening between the two children, and then bringing the parents in so that we can have a conversation with the children and saying that this is very unacceptable, and then ensuring that there's no communication between the two.
One has to really kind of keep the finger on the pulse of what's happening in evenings and at weekends, and have an ear to the ground to what's happening out of school in order to make the school a safe and happy place.
When our educationalists were at school, they didn't have to face cyberbullying. But where did they lie on the bullying spectrum?
I was bullied. Yes, as a child, through a physical disability I had. And I wasn't very good at sport, so it wasn't through trying. I was always lost in any kind of race, and children did pick up on that.
No, I wasn't a bully, but I wasn't particularly nice to people. I was a smarty pants.
I remember in school being bullied by a girl with her little gang. She wasn't in my class but would lie in wait. And I don't tell children this, but one day I got in such a temper, I hit her, and she didn't bully me again.
When I was in primary school, I was most certainly bullied. When I got to secondary school, I think that I would admit to possibly being a little bit of a bully when I got to year 3, which is the equivalent of year 9 now, I think.
I was never badly bullied, but I can remember being ostracised by a group of girls on several occasions when I was at secondary school, and just how hurt that made me feel.